is me once again, giving you some fresh new updates about my life. So recently, I went to see the Amazing Digital Circus, the last act, with a couple of friends of mine, and here's my review about it, as well as my experience in detail. So here's the fit. I chose to go with the schoolgirl design for Gangle, because she's just like me for real. I'm partially depressed all the time, and at the same time, she's just my favorite character. We also didn't really know what we were listening to at the time, but I know I heard something, and it meant something very bad was happening. So Harper was supposed to pick me up at around 1 o'clock, but unfortunately he got lost because I was in the middle of buttfuck nowhere. And so he picked me up a little late, and throughout the entire drive to the theater, he was complaining about how we were going to be a little bit late. And that didn't bother us really, because you'll never guess what we got to saw. We did not get to see the previews. And we actually saw something else that's quite interesting. We did get to see the Glitch logo come up. So when we did get to the theater, we did get to see a little preview of what we were supposed to be expecting, which is like, don't turn on your cell phones to record anything. And it was all brought to us by the Yellow Fish from episode 7, and it was really interesting because he literally told us not to spoil anything, and we also got a little bit of a recap of the whole entire series, which was really nice and refreshing. After that, I chose to go and meet a couple of cosplayers I saw, and I took a photo with them that I'm not really going to show you because of privacy reasons. And I'm not going to show you a lot at all either, due to privacy reasons again. And we just got a nice photo, and I really do appreciate everyone coming to me, complimenting my outfit, because I literally bought off Amazon literally 2 weeks beforehand, and one of the items arrived late. But it came on time, thankfully. And so, I'm just thankful for all that. And here's what I think of the Amazing Digital Circus, the last act. After that, we decided to go and get some sushi, and Harper doesn't really like sushi, but both his roommate and I actually do like sushi, which is a really interesting experience, because he ordered some sushi, however, he was only able to finish and he just didn't really eat much after that. He just ate snacks in the theater when we went to see the Backrooms. So before I went to the Backrooms, we decided to go to the mall because his roommate Jay, who came with us, said that someone called him by his legal name in Hot Topic at the mall, and so Harper and I both just decided to go along there to see if that theory proves correct. However, we did not get to test that theory because someone chose to, for no reason whatsoever, pull the fire alarm at the mall. And so I wasn't able to buy Wolf Children at this little pop culture store that we all stopped in. But, that's alright. Since we weren't able to do much at the mall, we decided to go all the way back to the movie theater, which was conveniently right across the street from the mall. And so we had to wait at least like 40 minutes, I believe. And so it was just like a little waiting period for us, I guess. We were trying to entertain ourselves with conversation, but I chose Mischievous Kiss of all things to entertain myself with. And it was just a really boring time, but at the same time, it was really nice to finally have some company after cooping myself in my room for like so long. And yeah, it was just nice to have conversation while we waited for our screening for the Backrooms to begin. And the thing is, you have to get ID to get into it because I think it's rated R or something like that. Now, we weren't ultimately going to see the Backrooms, but Jay really insisted we did because it was literally at the exact same theater we were going to see for the Amazing Digital Circus, and so I was asked if I wanted to go see it, and I said yes, that is fine. And the Backrooms is a really big pop culture thing on the internet, and it's pretty amazing to see that things like the Amazing Digital Circus and the Backrooms are being produced and created by humans from the internet. it's not like some big corporate kind of thing that they're doing. They're just doing it from the heart, and everything they do has substance. And I really do appreciate things like that, because it's just proving a point that corporations are just slop at this point. And it's really hard to find anything that has like a really deeper meaning than just, oh, bad guy, friendship defeats it, and then the bad guy, turns good, and blah blah blah. That's not what we want anymore in our theaters. Like, we want like something to consume and to think about, not some brain rotted highlighter looking video. Like, that's all for little kids, but it's still kind of refreshing to see stuff made by humans and not some puppet master to actually watch in a theater. Now, I watched the majority of the Backrooms in the theater with my friends. However, due to a minor inconvenience, I missed a little bit of the beginning part of it. However, I did see most of it after that, and so I have to say the Backrooms is pretty much like an art major's wet dream, if I put it so politely, because it's like you have all these liminal spaces, you have this emptiness in the picture, and it's like all about perspective, and to be fair, it really does kind of adventure out into what mental health looks like, what insanity looks like, dementia, and it's all about like the illusion of life, pretty much. And yeah, it's scary at some points, but it's still a really good movie, and like, I actually really enjoyed it. I'm glad I got to see it. I'm glad I didn't say no to it. And yeah, it's just, if you like horror and you like the internet, then I really recommend you go and see it, because it's a really good movie. Now, something to take away from all of this is the fact that the Amazing Digital Circus does touch on mental health a lot, and something it really helps me out with is just advice and just giving me an escape to a different world from time to time. And so I'm just really thankful for that. And here's what I have to say about the Backrooms. Now, some of the things the Amazing Digital Circus does touch on are things like accepting your reality and having to face it, anxiety and trying to find out who you really are and your identity, coming to face that not everything is your fault and some things happen for a reason, masking your emotions in the real world, learning what your triggers are, learning how to deal with your triggers, disassociation and going insane, and facing your own personal trauma in your own righteous way. Now, something very similar to the scene does happen in the finale, but I'm not gonna really spoil much of it. So, it's pretty much a long talk about how you have to accept who you are, and you have to accept that it's actually okay to ask for help from others. And that is something I had to come to terms with myself over the last few months, because I thought I could do everything on my own. However, that is not the case for literally anyone. And it's kind of sad that we have people that still think this way. And so, something like this happens in the finale. And in the finale, everything turns to be okay. Except for one minor detail. But it really does have the happy ending. So that's it for the Amazing Digital Circus. I really do love it a lot. It really did speak to me on a really deep level. And I'm not going to spoil anything at all about it. The finale should be out today at some point, if it's not already up. And I can't wait to see your thoughts about it, to know what you guys think of it, and to know if it touched you in any way, to an emotional level especially, because it really did for me. I personally enjoyed it. I'm glad it existed for a while it did, but Gooseworks did say that she was gonna leave it alone after this, but I am hoping that in a few years she will touch it again and probably do a spin-off series. But it's a really good show. If you haven't seen it yet, I really recommend you do. Anyway, that's it from me. Goodbye.